Hey guys, EDDBUD here, and today we're talking about
the big three.
A three-way comparison video for you between the Adidas Ultraboost 21, the New Balance FRESHFOAM 1080 V11 and the Nike ZoomX Invincible Run Flyknit. I'll take you through the weight, through some of the dimensions, and then compare the upper, midsole, outsole, and of course the all-important value. So today we take a look at the big three, some more chunky daily trainers for some considerable cushion, and all readily available right now around the 140 to 160 Earth credit mark. So what do those extra Earth credits get you? And put these above some of the other daily options available right now. Let's get to it. So I was actually quite surprised when I went to measure these shoes and see what surface area you actually had there underfoot. The Invincible Run easily comes out on top in terms of the underfoot surface area, in the forefoot and in the heel. In the heel actually it's easily the widest of all three. The Ultraboost 21 is actually the narrowest of all shoes, and then the 1080 V11 comes in somewhere in the middle, but compared to some of the racing options obviously they're much more narrow, which is right down to their use really. In terms of weights, we've got the Ultraboost 21 right up there with 402 grams, which is 14.18 ounces. Next is the Invincible Run at 345 grams, 12.17 ounces, and the Lean and Mean New Balance 1080 V11 at 309 grams, which is 10.9 ounces. The Invincible Run is in a size 11/US size 12, so the other two are in a UK 11.5, which equates to a size 12 in those manufacturers' shoes. Uppers first. So the 1080 V11 is probably the most refined of all three uppers. Lovely and soft to the touch. It's sock-like to the extreme, and a very careful improvement over the 1080 V10 that came before it. I have to say it's the most comfortable around the foot of all three shoes in today's comparison, and by some stretch. Do you get it? So stretchy. It is beautifully stretchy. It just hugs your foot like a wonderful glove. Not like one of those gloves that's really hard to get off. It just sort of... That Ultraboost 21 is more foot hugging, but I have to report it has shrunk a little bit. Over time I think I just got it too wet and it just didn't like it. So it's a little snug to me now. Even in my half size up, I'm having to opt to use some much thinner socks to utilise this one, which is a bit of a bummer. I do have to let you know that no shoes have been harmed in the making of this video. Give me blisters on my big toes, will you? Let's see how fancy you are without your reflective strips.
Stop it, you're hurting me. I'm just misunderstood.
The Invincible Run upper has a huge number of oddities here, but I have to report that there are some things here that just aren't needed. Certainly around the collar there, I just feel that padding's just unnecessary. I do think there'll be another iteration of this shoe down the line somewhere where they try to minimise the upper somewhat. I mean, a shoe that's £160 and you've got to remove bits of it to make it more comfortable to wear, it's just darn right silly, isn't it? So in terms of upper fit, I'm going to give the 3 points this time to the New Balance 1080 V11. 2 points to the Ultraboost 21. Still fits better than the Invincible. 1 point. Midsole now. Midsoles are a little bit tougher to call between these three shoes. The FRESHFOAM X in the 1080 V11 here is quite compressive, yet dense. But I find it really forgiving, and it's superb over a range of paces as well. That's the key here. It just whispers pillow to me in an alluring tone. That's what my feet hear when they press into the midsole. It's true, you know, I wouldn't lie to you. The boost material here in the Ultraboost 21 is a bit of a legacy foam to some people, but not me. Some people either really love it or they don't. It felt great to me at slower endurance paces, I have to say. I took him for a half marathon effort. Legs felt great afterwards. Don't listen to all the naysayers there, oh, Boost is outdated and things like that. It's like saying that you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, but yet you've never eaten any of it. Sadly though, I find this shoe fits the most limited range of paces. Though I say it's probably the most generous in terms of cushion. Though some people just aren't going to need that. I think it's very much going to depend on your build, on the style of your running, whether this implementation will work for you. The Invincible Run is a vastly different undertaking in terms of midsole foam. Like no other shoe actually that we've seen before. Obviously we've seen ZoomX within the Vaporfly and Alphafly series, but there's no plate here. Maybe closer to the Nova Blast or the Fuel Cell TC in terms of the foam implementation. And of the three shoes, the most difficult to really pinpoint as to what you should use it for. It took quite a bit of time actually to break in for me, and I found it actually dictates the way I run quite a lot, and I'm not entirely sure I like that. The 1080 and the Ultraboost certainly feel more natural. You can just run the way you want to run, where this makes you run in a certain way. It wants you to use the foam, and I just don't think I need it. Those other two shoes just felt really good straight out of the box, whereas this model here is a quite different sensation. Certainly the most unstable of the three shoes, but I'd argue that you could probably run the fastest of the bunch in this one. I sense this one's mainly going to appeal to people that have perhaps tried ZoomX foam before, but I don't think it's going to win over new fans. If this is your first experience of ZoomX, it's going to confuse you and leave you feeling befuddled. Overall, it's hard not to love the FRESHFOAM or FRESHFOAM X or whatever it is in this shoe. In the 1080 V11, I'm going to give this 3 points for midsole, 2 points for the ZoomX Invincible run, and just the 1 for the Ultraboost 21 due to its lack of versatility. Outsole now. The Invincible run here, it's the real winner. Bowen and waffle-like protrusions there on the outsole, like a futurized remix of the Nike Tailwind 79. But someone's blown it up with a magnifying glass, and kind of like a mixture between that and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I suppose. 3 points for this multi-terrain traction triumph. Ultraboost 21 comes in second with that Continental rubber. A great design here, and on my efforts so far I've found no issues with traction. Good on harder surfaces, yet the rubber segments do suck up rocks and rubble, like a demented Dyson or a hyperactive Hoover. But it's still vastly more grippy than the 1080 V11 outsole here, which I just find quite slippery, in fact, when you're on smooth surfaces. The more mottled rubber segments here are starting to smooth over a little bit already, pretty much like the 1080 V10 did. I don't think there's anything different there in the rubber. So only 1 point for the 1080 V11, 2 for the Ultraboost 21 in terms of outsole, and 3 for the Invincible run. Value-wise, the 1080 V11 is clearly the winner for me. It's the best of the bunch and also the cheapest too. 140 Earth credits gets you a very capable shoe. It's going to be your friend. It can do all sorts of stuff. It wants to go for coffee with you. It wants to go for a short run, maybe play some video games. Occasionally it might even go to the cinema. I just jest. It's a more versatile shoe than the other two. All types of runs this thing will handle, long runs, daily use. It's got you covered. It's just a really nice package, you know, really well put together. The Ultraboost 21's a little bit like a shoehorn to me. A thing that's really nice to have, but ultimately most shoes you can just put on without one. Not absolutely necessary, it's a bit of a niche shoe. As such, it will work for very specific jobs, easy days, long runs perhaps, where pace is not required. It could be absolutely spot on for you if you're a heavier built runner and you really love Boost. And it's also really easy to say that Boost will hold up really well over time. It's durable. You know it's in there for the long haul. The Invincible run, well, we just don't know yet, do we? Only Marty and Doc could tell us whether it's going to hold up over time. I know Ben Johnson on Instagram's got a ton of miles into his already, and they seem to held up, but we know Ben takes very good care of his shoes. He does clean them up, and I take my hat off to him for that. There's certainly a thicker coating on the ZoomX here. Perhaps that's going to improve the durability over time, so you might get a few more miles out of it. It's reasonably versatile enough, but I really think that the use case is a bit muddled on the shoe. A more sleek upper would have just made me want to get out in the shoe a little bit more. Just feel like a bit of a clown when I'm wearing this one, I gotta be honest. People look at you funny as well, because you're running around, it makes this sort of weird squishy noise. And that's not what you want, is it? You don't want people giving you strange looks when you're out there enjoying yourself. So it's a bit of a limbo shoe for me, not sure exactly where it fits. And like I said earlier, a shoe you've got to tinker with to get it to work really well for you. At 160 Earth credits? Nah. So value scores, 1 point for the Nike ZoomX Invincible run Flyknit, 2 points for value for the Ultraboost 21. I think it's just gonna last a little longer. And 3 points for the New Balance 1080 V11. So that gives us a tie with 7 points each for the Ultraboost 21 and the Invincible run. Streaks ahead though is the New Balance FRESHFOAM 1080 V11. I think it's pretty hard to recommend the Invincible run and the Ultraboost 21 over that 1080 V11. It's a top shoe and one of the best daily options straight out the box available right now. What do you make of the big three, guys? This is certainly my top option right now. It's just like a beautiful paradise every time I put my foot into the shoe. Let me know what you think about all three of these, or what your favourite daily options are right now, down in the comments. A quick musical interlude for you. As you know, I've been building up a playlist for my half marathon time trial on the Sunday of this week. It's mainly all drum and bass and jungle stuff in there, so I'm just going to let you know a few of the tracks that I have included and as to why they're there. One such track is The Rain by Fotak. I love the sparse breakbeats here, chopped up. Everything's so clean and crisp. I think it reminds me of what the morning might feel like when I start the half marathon time trial. And the tempo's just right. I've been testing all of the tempos out using the old calculator method, 1+1, and then trying for 1 minute and seeing what the overall BPM is. So that one's right in there and near the start of the playlist. I've got quite a few of those more intelligent drum and bass tracks in there. One from LTJ Bookham. That one's entitled Rainfall. Again, it's quite a calming track, but with exactly the right BPM that I'm looking for. As things progress onwards a little bit, I've included some Ronnie Size and Represent. Oh, awesome stuff. As the crow flies, Bristol isn't too far away, and of course Ronnie Size representing. Brown Paper Bag is on there. It was always one of my favourite tracks when I was a young man, and still to this day it's got that pizzazz about it. It's got a bit of showmanship. Nice and clear and crisp again, you know. Got that jazzy vibe in there. I think it would be just right for the playlist. I found like a newer Breaks remix of a track called The License by Chrome and Time. Lots of chopped up Amen Brothers breakbeats in there, and some filtering and things. I've just sort of brought it into the sort of modern age. What a great track. And I've slowly ramped up the BPM a little bit towards the end with a track called Just Warming Up by Dillinger. Lots of stuff just to get the blood pumping, nice steady beats. I think that'll work, just to give me the extra little bit of impetus towards the end of the run when I'm starting to tire. Okay, it's just a few of the tracks there for the half marathon time trial playlist. I'll put the full playlist up at some point. I'm going to do a few more music related ones soon, so do watch out for those. Okay, thanks for staying with me to the very end of the video, guys. I very much appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when I launch those new videos. It does help us out here at the channel a huge amount if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you